Hey guys, it's Sublime Tales, bringing you the best of Reddit stories. Hit that like and subscribe button for more stories. Aita for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding because of her last-minute changes? I, 28M, have a younger sister, Emily, 24F, who recently got engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Daniel. Growing up, Emily and I had our ups and downs, like any siblings, but we generally had a close relationship. We shared a lot of childhood memories and supported each other through various stages of life. When Emily and Daniel announced their engagement, I was thrilled for them and eager to support their upcoming wedding. When Emily first approached me about helping with the wedding expenses, we had a straightforward conversation. She explained that they were planning a modest wedding but needed some financial assistance to cover specific costs. I was happy to help and agreed to contribute $5,000, which was a comfortable amount for me to manage. We both felt this was fair and reasonable, and the initial excitement about the wedding made the arrangement feel like a good decision. Emily was enthusiastic about the wedding planning. She and Daniel had chosen a charming venue that seemed perfect for their special day. The planning seemed to be progressing smoothly, and I was regularly updated on their plans. Everything felt like it was falling into place, and I was looking forward to celebrating their marriage. However, a couple of months before the wedding, Emily called me with unexpected news. The venue they had initially booked encountered a scheduling conflict and was no longer available. I could sense her frustration and anxiety over the situation. She mentioned that finding a new venue was proving difficult, and the new location they had chosen was considerably more expensive. She asked if I could contribute an additional $3,000 to cover the new venue costs. At this point, my financial situation was starting to feel a bit strained, but I wanted to be supportive. I agreed to the additional amount, hoping that this would be the last unexpected expense. It was clear that Emily was stressed, and I didn't want to add to her worries. I reassured her that I would help as much as I could. As the wedding date approached, it seemed that more issues kept cropping up. A few weeks after the venue change, Emily called again, this time with a new problem. The caterer they had hired had canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. Emily was scrambling to find a replacement and was understandably upset. The new caterer was more expensive, and she asked if I could cover an additional $2,000. By now, I was starting to feel overwhelmed. My budget was stretched thin, and I was beginning to worry about my own financial stability. Nonetheless, I agreed to help with the additional cost. I didn't want Emily to be further stressed, and I hoped that this would be the final hurdle. Then, just a few days before the wedding, Emily called with yet another issue. The photographer she had originally hired experienced a last-minute emergency and was unable to attend. Emily had to book an emergency replacement, which came with an additional cost of $1,500. At this point, I was feeling exhausted and frustrated. I had already contributed far more than the initial $5,000 we had agreed upon, and I was concerned about my own financial limits. I called Emily back and, with a heavy heart, told her that I couldn't cover the last-minute photographer expense. I explained that my budget had been exceeded, and I simply couldn't afford any more. I felt like I was at my breaking point and needed to set a boundary to protect my own financial well-being. Emily was upset, and I could hear the disappointment and frustration in her voice. She felt that I was being unsupportive and unfair, especially since she had relied on my financial help for so much of the wedding. It was hard to hear her react this way, but I knew I had to stand firm on my decision. I had already stretched my financial resources as far as I could. The situation took another turn when our parents got involved. They called me and expressed their disappointment. They said that I should step up and support my sister during such an important time in her life. They argued that family should help each other, especially during significant events like weddings, and that it was unfair for me to back out at the last minute. The pressure from my parents was intense, and it added to the stress I was already feeling. With the added pressure from my parents and the ongoing stress from Emily, I felt like I was being pulled in multiple directions. It was becoming increasingly difficult to balance my own financial needs with the expectations of my family. I tried to explain my position to my parents, but it seemed like they didn't fully understand the constraints I was under. Their insistence made the situation even more challenging. Feeling overwhelmed and caught in the middle, I decided to take a step back and reflect on the situation. I knew that my relationship with Emily was important, and I didn't want this issue to cause a rift between us. I reached out to Emily again, hoping to have a more open and honest conversation. During our conversation, I explained my financial constraints in detail. I told her that while I wanted to support her, the continuous changes and additional expenses had exceeded my budget. I apologized for any distress my decision might have caused and reiterated that I was willing to help in other ways, such as finding alternative solutions or covering costs for other aspects of the wedding, but that I couldn't stretch my budget any further. Emily seemed to appreciate the honesty and understood my perspective better after our discussion. She acknowledged that the situation could have been managed more effectively and that there needed to be clearer communication and planning from the start. We both agreed that better preparation and understanding of potential challenges would have made a significant difference. The wedding day arrived, and despite the challenges, it turned out to be beautiful. Emily and Daniel were married in a lovely ceremony, and the celebration was joyful. I was relieved to see them both happy and to witness their special day, even though it had been fraught with difficulties leading up to it. My parents were also present, and while there was still some lingering tension, the atmosphere was warm and celebratory. The wedding went off without any major issues, and the day was filled with love and happiness. It was clear that everyone was focused on celebrating Emily and Daniel's marriage, and the event was a success. After the wedding, Emily and I had the opportunity to discuss the experience further. We both acknowledged that there had been miscommunication and that the situation could have been handled better. Emily expressed her gratitude for the support I had already provided and apologized for not communicating more effectively about the changes. We discussed the importance of setting clear boundaries and managing expectations in family matters. I explained that while I wanted to be supportive, it was crucial to maintain personal financial limits. Emily seemed to understand and appreciated the open dialogue. We both agreed that the experience had been a learning opportunity for both of us. Our parents were also part of the post-wedding discussions. I took the opportunity to explain my perspective in more detail and emphasize the importance of respecting personal boundaries. While the conversation was challenging, it was necessary for moving forward. I felt that we were able to address the issues and find a way to avoid similar problems in the future. Update. It's been a few months since the wedding, and I wanted to provide an update on how things have evolved since then. After the wedding, Emily and I continued to work on rebuilding our relationship. We've had several more conversations about the challenges we faced and how we can better communicate moving forward. It's been a process, but I feel like we're making progress. We've both acknowledged that the wedding planning could have been handled differently, and we're committed to improving our communication to avoid similar issues in the future. Emily has been more understanding of my perspective, and I've made an effort to be more proactive in discussing financial boundaries and expectations. We've talked about ways to handle unexpected expenses in the future, and I feel like we're on the same page now. Our parents have also been more supportive and understanding of my position. After having a detailed discussion with them about my financial constraints and the importance of respecting personal boundaries, they've been more considerate and less insistent. The tension that had existed around the wedding has eased, and our family dynamics feel more balanced. I've also taken steps to ensure that I'm more prepared for unexpected financial challenges in the future. I've revisited my budget and created a more flexible plan to handle unexpected expenses. This experience has taught me the importance of setting and maintaining financial boundaries, even when it involves helping loved ones. The experience has been a significant learning opportunity for me. I've learned the importance of setting clear financial limits and communicating them effectively. It's crucial to be transparent about what you can and cannot afford, especially when dealing with family and significant events. This helps manage expectations and prevents misunderstandings. I've also realized the value of proactive planning and clear communication. If there had been a better assessment of potential challenges and more effective communication from the start, the situation might have been less stressful. Establishing realistic budgets and contingency plans can help mitigate the impact of unexpected issues. While the wedding was a challenging experience, it has led to growth and improvement in my relationships with Emily and our parents. We're all working on better communication and understanding, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to strengthen our family bonds moving forward. In summary, while the situation was difficult and stressful, it ultimately brought me closer to Emily in some ways. We've learned to navigate financial boundaries more effectively and to communicate more openly about our expectations and needs. I'm hopeful that our improved understanding will help. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed these Reddit stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.